Philadelphia, the birthplace of a nation, where the mission for liberty and freedom started with a good fight. And so it has been with this proud city's pro basketball team, the 76ers. True to their fabric, blue collar to their core, locking horns with heavily favored Orlando, doing so without giving it in, without ever giving up. Twice in this storied series, with the pressure mounting and the seconds dripping away, these Sixers kept their heads and came away winners. Win? That's what they must do tonight. For now, they're a team on the edge. Time to call on their most basic survival instincts. Send it back to Orlando for a 7th and deciding game.
It's become a Philly tradition, the block party, 3 hours before every 76ers playoff game. Once you come inside the Wachovia Center, the party atmosphere is just as festive as it moves indoors. Sixers fans hoping the party continues after tonight's Game 6, a must-win situation for their team. And so it is. The Sixers look to win to stay alive as Comcast Sportsnet presents Game 6 of this 2009 opening round NBA playoff series between the 76ers and the Orlando Magic. Good evening to you and welcome back to the 2009 NBA playoffs on Comcast Sportsnet. I'm Mark Zumoff. A couple of things over the last 48 hours greatly changing the complexion of this series. The injury to Courtney Lee for one, the other the suspension of the great center Dwight Howard. This after what happened early in Game 5 Tuesday in Orlando. Look at the numbers he leaves behind. 24 points, nearly 16 boards, outrageous shooting, nearly 3 blocks per game. Many thought, and correctly so, that Howard should have been ejected when this occurred early in the first quarter of Game 5, but the officials claiming they didn't see the elbow make contact, and that's the key. Instead, Howard just got a tee, stayed in the game, a game eventually won by the Orlando Magic. Bob Salmi, how did the Magic win that Game 5?
A little bit of slippage defensively. The 76ers did an excellent job guarding the three-point line in the first 3 games. A little bit of slippage in Game 4 and Game 5 as the Magic found themselves open from 3, something they haven't found almost the entire series. Lewis has now made 5 of his last 9 threes. Sixers need to get reconnected to those 2 at the three-point line. But this is the guy that will not be playing tonight. He's been a monster in the low post. He's been a monster on the boards. The Orlando Magic will miss him on the offensive end of the floor, no question. But the defensive end of the floor is where Dwight Howard has made a difference. And the 76ers' success all season long has been predicated on their ability to drive the ball, their ability to get to the rim, and their ability to get to the free throw line. In the absence of Dwight Howard, their ability to do all of those things becomes much easier. An opportunity for the 76ers to win a game when the #1 shot blocker in the league, the #1 defensive player in the league, is not in the game.
All right, another guy for the Magic not in the game tonight, Courtney Lee, a rookie who's been playing surprisingly well this series. With more on him, here's D-Lina.
Surprisingly indeed, Mark, he was averaging almost 13 points, playing 33 minutes, and he did lead his team in scoring in Game 2 with 24 points. But Courtney Lee played less than 6 minutes in Game 5 because when his teammate Dwight Howard went up to block that Willie Green shot, Howard's elbow came down on Lee's head, fracturing his sinus. Lee did come to Philadelphia with his teammates so he could undergo his surgery at Penn. In his absence this evening, J.J. Redick will get the start. Redick is an excellent three-point shooter, 37% this season. But in 5 starts that he made this season, Mark, he averaged just 6.5 points.
So the 76ers, they know what their mission is tonight, to take this game. They have confounded many of the experts so far in this playoff series by giving the Magic all they can handle. Now the question is, can they win tonight and force a Game 7, a deciding Game 7 in Orlando on Saturday? The answer is next as the Sixers meet the Magic in a must-win Game 6. The action on Comcast Sportsnet is coming up next.
76ers basketball is brought to you by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. The new AT&T, your world delivered. McDonald's McCafe coffees. Try hot or iced mochas, lattes, and cappuccinos. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Wachovia, the official financial services partner of the Philadelphia 76ers. Mountain Dew, do the do. And by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
Quite literally putting on their game faces here for this Game 6 of this first round playoff series. 76ers and the Orlando Magic here at the Wachovia Center. And the starters being brought to you by Wachovia for the Magic, Hedo Turkoglu and Rashard Lewis. Marcin Gortat for the suspended Dwight Howard, J.J. Redick for the injured Courtney Lee, and Rafer Alston will also be in the backcourt. Stan Van Gundy bristling after comments were made about Dwight Howard being in the lane too long. In Game 5 on both ends of the floor. Now his team has to play without him. Suspended for tonight's game. The Wachovia starters for the 76ers, Andre Iguodala, Thaddeus Young the forwards, Samuel Dalembert in the middle, with Andre Miller and Willie Green the guards. Of course, for Tony DeLeo, his team must win tonight to stay alive and play another day. That day would be Saturday at Orlando, a decisive Game 7 between these teams if the Sixers win tonight. More now from the floor and D-line.
Mark, I think we've spent a lot of time talking about the growth of Andre Iguodala as a leader for this team as well as a player. And really, when you look at his numbers in last year's playoffs versus this, the numbers don't lie. His points are up almost 80. At 13 last year, he's averaging almost 22 now. His field goal percentage is up to 45. He's rebounding well, and he's distributing the basketball when they trapped him. We will say last year, Tayshaun Prince was guarding him. This year, Turkoglu, a different kind of defender.
All right, D-Lineham, thank you so much. And we're running tonight in this Game 6. Miller looking to lob it inside. The Sixers turn it over on the first possession. 76ers averaging more than 14 turnovers per game. And right now that ranks 12th of the 16 NBA playoff teams.
Well, that's not a good start for the 76ers. Lob pass that was obviously open. Thaddeus Young not paying attention. Sixers need to be sharp even though Dwight Howard's not here.
Magic on their first possession. Alston, who has shot pretty well this playoff series, surprisingly well, 42% as opposed to 38.5% during the regular season. He is third on the Magic in playoff scoring, averaging just under 12. Andre Iguodala, rebound to Gortat. One thing he can do is rebound the basketball.
Something he's done well all season long, but they're going to have to count on him to score the ball as well.
To this point has played just an average of 9 minutes per game. Second year from Poland, 6'11", 240. The Magic, you sense, have to play a nearly perfect game, missing so many players as Dalembert misses. With Dwight Howard, you leave 24 points, 16 boards out of the lineup, 3 blocks as well, and a monster defensive presence. Lewis tried to thread it to Gortat, and the Magic turn it over for the first time as we bring in the keys to tonight's Game 6.
Well, the first key, Mark, no Howard, no guarantee for the 76ers. They have to play their game. Just because Howard's not here, that doesn't mean an instant win. But what's plan B for each coach? I'm curious to see what adjustments Stan Van Gundy makes. I'm curious to see what adjustments Tony DeLeo will make in the absence of Howard and Lee.
Did the Magic hoist maybe, say, 33s in this game?
It's a distinct possibility.
Turkoglu, one of those guys to be counted on to try to up his scoring. Quite frankly, has had a miserable playoff series with the exception of Game 4, where here in this building he shot 8 of 11, and of course the game-winning three.
It's amazing to me that both teams right now are a little out of sync. Over the last half of a day, really, they're both trying to change the way they played this entire series, and neither team in sync right now.
And I think if you're the Magic, you want to ugly up the game a little bit. Alston with a step on D'Alembert, and he heard the footsteps and misses at the other end. Miller trying to take advantage of the Magic scrambling back defensively. Gortat, the block and the foul. Should be 2 at the line for Andre Miller.
Alston absolutely heard footsteps. Tries to change the pace a little bit to go back at D'Alembert so he can't block the shot. But in doing so, doesn't get his steps down and misses a wide open layup. Good job by D'Alembert to run that play down. Alston missed an opportunity for an easy lay-in.
Andre Miller, the 76ers' best free throw shooter during the regular season as well as in the playoffs. Had 4 steals in Game 5, mostly sneaking up and picking the pocket of Dwight Howard.
He's been the Sixers' best weak side defender in this series. Anytime he's on the weak side of the floor and the Orlando Magic have tried to get the ball into the post to Howard, Miller's been waiting on it and has come up with some big steals from the weak side.
Andre Miller also a very good post defender. He'll guard anybody.
Doesn't care how big, how small. Solid defensive skill set, solid team defensive skill set.
Right now he's got the 6'10 Turkoglu to worry about. Iguodala wrestling with Rashard Lewis. The Magic very successful posting Lewis at the end of Game 5 as Iguodala the strip. Here come the Sixers flying down the floor. It's Young finishing the job. Compliments of the original steal by Andre Iguodala. Thaddeus Young, third on the Sixers in playoff scoring, averaging just under 13. And we have a technical foul being called. It's on Stan Van Gundy, the head coach of the Magic.
And the Magic players thought Stan Van Gundy had called timeout. The officials waving it off say, no, it's not a timeout. It's a technical foul on Stan Van Gundy. But I think Stan recognizing that the 76ers an opportunity to play the game that has made them successful all season long. Out on the fast break, driving the basketball, getting themselves to the free throw line. This has been much more difficult to do for the 76ers with Dwight Howard in the lineup, and the 76ers here early taking advantage on the steal, getting themselves out onto the open floor.
That's Sixer basketball during the regular season. Stan Van Gundy, who looks the same, win or lose.
Up 20, down 20, how can you tell?
Sixers ripping off 5 straight. Here now the Magic after the tee called on their coach. Young now has to worry about Lewis. There's the double by Green. Gortat hauled it down, his 3rd rebound already. It's a Turkoglu 3, and down it goes for Hedo Turkoglu, shooting just 31% from beyond. And check that, that was J.J. Redick hitting the jumper, and Redick, a guy who's really struggled in the playoffs and limited playing time. A guy who could shoot, and that's why he's in there.
Well, he struggled to shoot in this series, only 1 for 7 from 3 in the series prior to making that one. That's why he's in the league to make shots, but he'd struggled throughout his career to make shots. And one of the reasons he'd see limited time here for the Magic.
Redick 30 minutes as a fill-in, largely for Courtney Lee, who was hurt about halfway through the first quarter of Game 5. Did not shoot particularly well. Maybe a little more relaxed perhaps in this game, a starter from the get-go as Miller takes Alston and he walked. Tried to come to the stop and he traveled with it. The Sixers already 3 turnovers, in fact 3 turns apiece.
Miller has an advantage in the post. You talked about Miller's ability to post up. Gets by his primary defender but shuffles his feet that time. And either team taking care of the ball here early.
Sixers off to a slow start, one of their first 4. At the fast break layup from Young, it's another Alston 3 and he drops it. Exactly what we thought earlier. The Magic might chuck 33s in this game.
But again, the right guy left open from the 3-point line, a guy you mentioned that didn't shoot particularly well during the regular season. It's a whole lot better for the Sixers to leave Alston open than it is Lewis or Turkoglu.
So the Magic right now 2 of 2 from beyond. Ironically, the Sixers shooting better from beyond the arc in the playoffs than Orlando. Quite the reverse during the regular season. And Thaddeus Young, ironically the Sixers' best 3-point shooter during the postseason. The air ball that time from beyond.
And this you and I talked about, Mark. Right now the Magic kind of baiting the 76ers into taking threes. The advantage for them is to put the ball on the floor in the absence of Howard. If they settle for threes, they're missing an opportunity to get to the rim and get to the free throw line.
A lot of the offense going through Lewis. That was the case late in the Orlando win in Orlando in Game 5 as Gortat another offensive rebound. He's got 4 boards already. The Magic here with the first 24. Here's Redick without a conscience, burying the 3. That was a healthy one. It caps a 9-0 Orlando run and their early lead at 6.
You wondered how the Orlando Magic would stay in the game, Mark, and you hit it right on the head. It looks like the three-point line is how they're going to try and stay in the game in the absence of Howard.
And if you're the Sixers, you can't get caught up in that kind of game at the other end. You got to play your game, drive it to the hoop. There's no Dwight Howard in there.
Absolutely.
Sixers won for their first 6. There's Lewis, and he drills it. The Magic suddenly on fire. Rashard Lewis, his first field goal, averaging just over 17. That's good for second on the team. 11 unanswered points for the Orlando Magic, and they are off to a tremendous start, hitting 5 of their first 9, limiting the Sixers to 1 of their first 6. And the lead expands to 8.
Well, the three-point line, the Magic looking to shoot threes early, up 13-5, knocking down the 3.
Summertime, it's basketball time, especially when you consider Sixers camps. Reserve your roster spot now because they're always sold out. And don't forget Sixers dance camps as well. Choose from any of the 15 day camps. If you're 5 to 7, there are 8 different Little Sixers day camps as well. Call 610-668-7676 for Sixers camps.
Referees right now, Mark, at the table trying to decide whether that last jump shot by Rashard Lewis was a 2 or a 3. Called a 2, and it stays at 2 right now for Rashard Lewis. His toe just barely on the line from the right corner.
That said, Lewis more than capable, their best three-point shooter during the playoffs and 40% during the regular season.
By rule, the officials now can look. Lewis with the jab step, steps back, just barely has that toe on the line. Goes into the shot, called a 2, stays at 2 after being reviewed by the officials.
That part of a nice run for Orlando, hitting 4 of their last 5 in about a 2-minute run, 11 straight. Here are the Sixers now out of the timeout. Iguodala, there's the double. They free up Green. Willie dips in. Sixers can't buy a hoop early on, 1 for their first 7. Magic love to do this. They love to shoot threes in transition. Gortat knocking away the miss by Lewis from beyond.
You watch the way they run the floor. They don't run to the rim. They run to the corners, and they run to the three-point line.
They have taken 5 threes in the first 6 minutes of this game. There is Young dipping in. The air ball taken by Miller. Andre Miller during the regular season among the leaders in the NBA, among his guard counterparts in offensive rebounding. Gets a badly needed hoop for the Sixers.
Certainly did, and that's why Redick struggles to get minutes for the Magic. Fell asleep that time. Miller snuck in behind him and stuck it back in.
You see Redick once again thinking about a 3 that time, trying to set up Turkoglu from beyond the arc. Sixers knock it away and out of bounds, and the Magic here left with 6 to shoot. The injury update brought to you by Mainline Health. Of course, the latest we added to that list, Courtney Lee, the fractured sinus. D-Lineham revealing before the game will not play if there is a Game 7, which would take place in Orlando at a time to be determined on Saturday. Alston taking D'Alembert. Sammy not going for the block. And Alston 3 of 6. He's got 7 to lead Orlando's parade.
He threw a little change up at D'Alembert that time. D'Alembert trying to gauge his steps to block the shots. Alston changed pace, got the ball in the air before D'Alembert could leave the floor.
Go to D'Alembert trying to work over Gortat. Nicely done by Sammy. That hook shot in rhythm. His first bucket, averaging just over 5 for this playoff series. Lewis. Rashard Lewis getting inside his second bucket.
Well, one of the things that has to happen for Samuel D'Alembert here early, he doesn't have to worry about committing fouls on Dwight Howard. He has to be better at protecting the rim for the Sixers and be more aggressive on drives.
As far the Magic, over 58% shooting. All cotton for Andre Iguodala. His first bucket leads the Sixers in playoff scoring, averaging just under 22. And there's a guy who really has a chance to get to the hoop in the absence of Howard.
Absolutely. Driving lanes all open for Andre Iguodala here in game 6.
They have Lewis on green. Young thinking about a double. It's an Alston 3, and the Magic cannot miss from beyond. They are 4 of 6 from beyond the arc already. And already they have 20 points. This from a team missing 24 points. You add Courtney Lee, that's another 13. It's amazing.
Those points had to come from somewhere, and Stan Van Gundy decided they're going to come from the three-point line.
Thaddeus Young working hard for the money. His second bucket for 4. Thaddeus trying to raise his game back up. His numbers have gone down since the series has rolled on. Turkoglu against Iguodala. Hedo Turkoglu averaging a disappointing average of just under 12 per game in this playoff series. The Sixers begin to heat it up, but right now they're just trading baskets with Orlando. Gortat going for the green miss, and we have a Sixer foul. It is on Andre Miller.
Time Miller trying to throw Redick out of the way to get to the offensive glass again. But the 76ers a little out of rhythm here. And the Magic taking and making threes here early in the first.
Are they psychologically affected by the fact that there's no Howard and to some extent no Lee, as Lewis goes in and he's fouled by Dallenberg?
Perhaps a little bit of one, but one of the things that the 76ers have done to this point is they've left Alston open at the three-point line and picked him as the target. But you look at what the Magic are missing tonight. This is a daunting test. 39% of their scoring, 45% of their rebounds, 62% of their offensive rebounds, 53% of their block shots, and more than half of their free throw attempts in the absence of Howard and Lee. And Stan Van Gundy appears to have decided that he's going to make up for those differences by shooting, taking, and making three-point shots.
Meantime, Tony DeLeo with his team falling behind early by 10, going to the bench. Theo Ratliff, Lou Williams for the first time. Samuel Dallenberg, Willie Green taking a seat. Meantime, the Magic scoring on 9 of their last 10 possessions. One thing the Sixers really need to do for the sake of the entire series and this game specifically, get to the line more than Orlando.
Absolutely. In the fourth quarter of game 4, a big push for them. They got to the line 10 times in that quarter. That's their game. Drive the ball, get to the line, and certainly able to do that in the absence of Howard.
Michael Petrus has come on for the first time. Don't count the bucket. Number 4, Tony Battie in for Marcin Gortat. Just under 3 to go. We're in the first quarter. The Magic bolting to the 11-point lead. We know it's all about interactivity, and here's your opportunity to interact with us, specifically John Celestin, while this game is going on. Our analyst will be chatting online with you. Just go to csnphilly.com to chat online with John Celestin and, in fact, other Sixers fans. Remember, the key word is Sixers chat. No doubt talking about Orlando's three-point shooting in this first quarter. It's been unbelievable.
And we talked about what was plan B for the Orlando Magic. It's the Toyota turning point in tonight's game. The Magic have come out and decided that plan B is to shoot three-point shots, get down the floor early, try and find someone behind that three-point line. The Magic in the first quarter, 4 of 6 from 3. And because of the threes, they find themselves up 24 to 11. It's going to be 24 to 13, up by 11 here early in the first.
Jimmy Rollins in the house tonight.
He likes his basketball, doesn't he? Seen him in a lot of 76er
Loves
games.
hoops. They'll open up that series with the New York Mets tomorrow. Here now the Sixers out of the timeout. All the action on your home for the 2008 World Series champion Phillies. That is Battie snuffing the shot of Andre Miller. Once again, the Phillies, the defending World Series champions, right here on this network, Comcast Sportsnet, tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Good up fake that time, but Battie has a shot blocker. Not quite the shot blocker that Dwight Howard is, but an adequate shot blocker and a good weak side defender that the Sixers will have to identify as they're looking to get to the rim.
Now Battie He didn't play in games 4 nor game 5. That said, a guy who you could dust off. He's professional and he knows what to do and how to do it.
Played 30 games in his playoff career. Coming into this series, certainly qualified to do in a backup role what he's been asked to do, but now perhaps even bigger minutes, asked to do more.
He's had some terrific games in this building. Big outside shot. Pietrus taking on Iguodala, snuck it by Ratliff. There is Petit crashing, and offensive rebounding has killed the Sixers. I mean, it's killed the Sixers here in the first quarter.
Anytime a big has to come help, anytime Theo Ratliff has to come help on a drive, someone has to help Theo Ratliff and put a body on Petit.
Remember that technical foul that Stan Van Gundy picked up in the first quarter? A 24-8 Magic run since then. There's Petit open. We mentioned he could hit that shot. The Magic scalding hot, nearly 65% shooting. It's an 8-0 run. You just hope they don't keep up this shooting.
And 76ers are going to have to affect those shots. To this point, they have not affected very many Orlando Magic shots.
Andre Miller getting free and stroking 2. Miller with 7 here in the first quarter. Second on the Sixers in playoff scoring, averaging just under 21. The Andres, Miller and Iguodala have been the stalwarts here in the postseason. Ratliff fouling Tony Petit. Ratliff, a busy guy to this point in the series, helping to defend Dwight Howard. And in fact, in limited minutes in 3 of the 5 games in this series, accruing as many as 5 personal fouls. Sixers right now at the team foul limit. Austin, wide open lane that time. That was too easy.
He gets by his primary defender on the pick and roll. Ratliff, afraid to come up to step up, hasn't gotten the help as he's come to help on the block.
Williams dips in and strokes 2. Williams, quite frankly, has struggled since unloading for that playoff career high 18 in game 1, a Sixer win in Orlando. Meantime, the Magic hitting 2/3 of their shots here in the first quarter as Pietrus had it stripped. Springs the Sixers. It is Young for the second time in the first quarter, finishing off a fast break.
What a great catch in transition. A catch between 2 defenders, and then uses his left shoulder to create the space he needs to lay the ball in the basket.
And the added benefit, probable 2 possessions for 1 for the Sixers. That's Lewis getting it by Ratliff. And a whistle. We have a loose ball foul on the Magic's Tony Petit.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Help the helper. That time Sixers do help. Iguodala on the steal. This chest pass between 2 defenders. Great catch. Left shoulder placed on Redick. Knocks him off the ball. Boom. Shoulder off. Lay the ball in with your left hand. Good pass on the break. Great catch. Nice finish by Thaddeus Young.
Now Theo Ratliff takes a seat. With the Sixers having what they hope is a final possession of the first quarter, the shooter Donyell Marshall has come on. Again, the shot clock is unplugged. Williams against Redick. Forced to give it up. Iguodala, that's for 3. It would have counted. But 3-point shooting, the key for the Magic in that first quarter. The Sixers end the period 0 for 3 from beyond, and the Magic 4 of 6. And a team minus Dwight Howard and Courtney Lee posting 30 in that first quarter. Their lead at 11 in this critical game 6 for the Sixers. Second quarter action after this.
76ers basketball is brought to you by Acura. Acura. Advance. Safe Auto. Minimum coverage for minimum budgets. Call 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. And by your Quality Plus Ford dealers.
Enjoying the pregame festivities before this game 6. But after the first quarter, the Sixers see the Magic shoot over 63%. And Orlando's lead at 11 after 1 quarter of play. The AT&T poll question tonight, key to the comeback will be starters in the offense, starters and the defense, the subs offense, or the subs defense Text your answer to 749-377. That's 749-377 to vote in the AT&T poll question with D. Lonham and Bob Salmi. Mark Zumov tonight. Second quarter underway. Sixers have to win or their season is over. Hedo Turkoglu and the Magic continue to stroke it. That was a deep deuce from Turkoglu, who is 2 of 2 for 4.
One of the things that can happen after you generate some open looks is even the tough shots go down. That was a tough fadeaway by Turkoglu, going in the air and fading to his left.
D. Lonham, what do you got?
Well, two things, and I think you saw it on the last defensive possession. Tony said, you know, you got to come with more energy than what we showed in that first quarter. And Theo Ratliff was very verbal in saying, well, every time I've gone to help, somebody's coming down with an offensive rebound. He said, guys, people are getting to the rim way too easy. We need to pick it up at the defensive end.
Good talk by the 36-year-old veteran. That's Williams. You can count it and a foul. And Lou will get one more at the line. Compliments of Hedo Turkoglu.
Well, Lou Williams must know. Dwight Howard not in the game, goes into full drive mode. Right from the backcourt, bumps off Turkoglu, goes easily by him. No shot blocking at the rim. Lou able to get the contact and finish with his left hand.
So with Williams getting one more at the line, a ripple of applause here at the Wachovia Center. The rookie Maurice Spates, haven't seen him since game 2, had minutes in both games 1 and 2. Tony DeLeo saying during this series, as Spates sat for games 3, 4, and 5, didn't like the matchups. Now, the Magic, they do have a more conventional lineup out there with Petit and Gortat on the floor at the same time, as, by the way, Petrus is fouled beyond the arc by Williams. It'll be 3 at the line. But really, aside from that, Tony DeLeo needs some kind of a spark.
He does, and he talked about it in the last huddle. D. Lonham just eavesdropping in. He knows the energy hasn't been there here in the first. Rising up, Lou Williams trying to contest the three-point shot. Makes body contact with Petrus on the flyby. Petrus with the miss, but now 3 free throws. But you just talked about Spates earlier. And think about that. Who primarily plays the 4 position for the Orlando Magic? And it's Rashard Lewis. Not a conventional 4, not a good matchup for Maurice Spates. But now that they have 2 bigs, the Orlando Magic with 2 bigs in the lineup, Tony DeLeo seeing an opportunity to get Spates some playing time here in the playoffs.
Not to mention the fact that right now his team is down 11. Make it 12 as Petrus goes 2 of 3 for his first points of the game. Petrus, big player thus far in this playoff series. That's Iguodala for 3, and down it goes for Andre Iguodala. Compliments of Lou Williams for the Sixers, their first 3 of the game.
Second time Lou Williams has been able to get into the paint, gets a layup for himself, and now a 3 for Iguodala.
And Williams guiding it to Iguodala. Sixers would love to run a little bit more. Miller taking on all comers, and he had his way. Andre Miller, 3 of 4. He's got 9 here in the first half.
Dwight Howard not in the game. Sixers taking advantage, going into drive mode here in the second quarter. Stan Van Gundy not liking what he sees, wants a timeout.
The Sixers right now an 8-2 push early in the second quarter.
No shot blocking. Sixers recognizing Andre Miller, recognizing Miller. 2 steps to the rim with the left hand.
If you're a season ticket holder, don't wait. Now is the time to renew your season ticket. This is a young, up-and-coming team. Get in on the action for next year now. Guarantee great seats by visiting Sixers.com. See all the new and improved benefits and flexible payment options as well. Call 215-339-7676. That's the number for your Sixers renewal representative. 215-339-7676 to renew your current 76ers season tickets.
The 76ers recognizing here in the second quarter that dribble penetration is the way to go. Lou Williams met at the rim after getting to the rim the previous possession. This time he drives and kicks to Andre Iguodala, who knocks down the 3-point shot. He's kind of eavesdropping in as Stan Van Gundy continues to work the officials. He's already got 1 technical foul. He crosses the line one more time, gets himself a ticket to the locker room.
His second season with the Magic. Head coach of the Miami Heat for 2+ seasons. Relieved of his duties, you might recall 2005-06 by then team president Pat Riley. That Heat team going on to win the NBA title.
That switch worked out okay, didn't it?
I'll tell you what, that's the kind of defense the Sixers have been lacking here in the first half. That aggressive defense we saw in the better part of this series, getting out on those shooters with those hard double teams.
Double team that surprised Turkoglu, who just threw it across the floor and turned it over.
For Orlando, their 5th turnover, 3 for the Sixers, who are down 7. Trailing by as many as 15. Spates gets the look, the whistles sound, and a call here against the Sixers. It is on Theo Ratliff. It'll be 2 now on Theo.
Ratliff working, trying to get inside position. Second foul. D'Alembert at the table getting ready to check back in. But a little easier for the 76ers to deal with foul difficulty in the absence of Howard. It's not like there's a player on the Magic roster where they can throw the ball into the post and he can go to the rim and almost guarantee himself 2 free throws and guarantee a foul on the 76ers. Sixers with a little more flexibility in terms of foul trouble for D'Alembert and Ratliff.
All here in the first half. Of course, when you're missing 2 starters, the bench critical as Williams turned it over. Sixers down 8. Their last lead came at 5-2. Lewis encounters Ivy, count it, and a foul. Except for Spates, the Sixers here essentially going without shot blocking. And the Magic, even with Ratliff and D'Alembert in there, having their way getting into the paint.
And run off the 3-point line. The Orlando Magic putting the ball back down. Ivy clearly sliding underneath Lewis. Lewis able to finish. Now another chance for a 3-point play. But the Magic of late have taken advantage of the fact that the Sixers are running them off the 3-point line and they're putting the ball on the floor and trying to get to the rim.
Lewis with 9. Sixers down 11. Orlando minus Dwight Howard and Courtney Lee. Lee because of the injury. Howard because of the suspension. The elbow delivered on Samuel D'Alembert in game 3. Maurice Spates, excellent outside shooter off a solid rookie season. His first bucket, he's got 4.
He does not lack for confidence. Doesn't play for 3 games. Comes right back in like nothing's going on. Knocks down a tough jumper.
Johnson spotting the mismatch with Lewis on Williams. It's a Turkoglu 3 in the Magic. They continue to bomb away and hit from beyond the arc. 5 of 7 in this game.
And again, an opportunity for the 76ers to stay connected to Turkoglu. That time Ivy peeking from the weak side.
Royale Ivy playing in traffic. And he was fouled en route to the hoop. We also have a technical being called against Tito Turkoglu. The technical call that time by the head official here, Scott Foster. The second tee on someone for the Magic in the first quarter. Stan Van Gundy was whistled for the tee.
But what the 76ers have done to the Orlando Magic in this series, you can sense a frustration from the entire team. You can sense a frustration from Stan Van Gundy. You certainly sense the frustration from Dwight Howard as he took a swing at Samuel D'Alembert, and that's why he's not playing tonight. The 76ers aggressive defense, and Turkoglu making a comment, chasing Scott Foster down. Scott Foster not liking what he hears. They're 4-letter words in Turkey too, aren't there? I think he used one.
Turkoglu called for his second personal foul. Royale Ivy, 5 years from Texas. Points and now 3 of the 6 games this series. Kind of missed the fact that in game 1, even though he's been in the league 5 years, his first ever playoff experience. Sixers down 10 as we approach the halfway point of the second quarter. Miller giving Lewis a what for as Richard posts him and away they go. Lewis, his own miss. Another offensive rebound for Orlando here in the first half.
Miller held his ground until the first shot, but no one put a body on Lewis. He gathers his own shot, sticks it back.
Miller, that vaunted shot fake, getting Anthony Johnson to bite, and Johnson fouled him. Going to be 2 at the line for Andre.
Andre Miller might be the 76ers' best post defender pound for pound. Lewis trying to back him down. Miller not giving any space. Sixers looking for a travel. But on the miss, he was able to garner his own miss and stick it back in the basket.
Rashard Lewis, 11 years in the league, but remember, came right out of high school. Taken in the second round by the Seattle Supersonics. The then Seattle Supersonics, now the Oklahoma City Thunder. And more at the line for Miller. Archon Gortat is back. Wait for Alston, point guard, back into the game, replacing Anthony Johnson, who takes a break. Miller, the Sixers' third leading rebounder in this playoff series. Over the first 3 games of the series, actually led the team in rebounding. Miller 11 points to lead them in scoring here in the first half. Lewis thinking 3, fouled on the floor by Thaddeus Young, and for Thaddeus his first. Sixers in the penalty, so a pair of free throws coming up. It's past the halfway point of the second. The Orlando Magic surprisingly leading by 11 in this critical game 6. Tonight on Sports Night, a recap of this game 6 and a full report on the Birds and their draft class, which begins arriving for this weekend's mandatory minicamp. All that coming up on Sports Night tonight at 10:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. The winner of this series takes on the winner of that tremendous Boston-Chicago series. And right now those teams are tied at halftime. Celtics with a victory can close it out at Chicago. Something tells me that's going 7.
I wouldn't doubt it. That has been a terrific series to watch. 3 overtime games in that series. And a tough finish for the Bulls the other night. Losing that game on 2 Brad Miller missed free throws down the stretch. Chance for Miller to tie the game and send it to double overtime.
All right, so just past the halfway point of this second quarter. The Magic doing what they need to do. Shoot the lights out. Over 62% from the floor, including 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. And Rashard Lewis, after the foul committed by Thaddeus Young, which put the Sixers in the penalty, getting 1 more at the line.
But the Magic have played this way all season long. That yo-yo, if you will, between the 3-point line and driving the ball. Obviously Howard not here, but as the Magic make threes, Sixers trying to close out. Orlando has put the ball on the floor and gotten to the rim and gotten to the line.
From the floor, the Magic making 5 of their last 6. Iguodala giving up about 4 inches to Turkoglu. Lewis got a piece of the rock. Springs the Magic. Redick back into the game. Missing the deep deuce. Long rebound for the Sixers and a chance to run. Boy, you can see the Magic getting back nicely on defense. D'Alembert breaking free the Williams miss, but Orlando has it.
That's been an underrated aspect of the Magic game in this series. Their ability to get back and stop the 76er fast break.
I agree. That's been the plan. They knew the Sixers wanted to run. Lewis, well, he's 6'10". Andre Miller 6'2". The predicted result, Lewis has 15. He is high man in the game right now. They swing it to Miller, thinking about a 3. He's attempted 8 already through the first 5 games of this series. Iguodala, somebody for the Magic, got a piece of the rock. You would think the Magic minus Dwight Howard would not have near the shot blocking, but they've had a few snuffs here in the first half. That time the offensive foul on Hedo Turkoglu, and that is personal number 3 on him.
Good hustle by the 76ers to get back in transition defense. Even though that shot attempt will not count, Redick, after making his first 2 threes, has missed his last 2 jump shots. Difficult for a player without a lot of playoff experience to play big in the playoffs.
So the Magic, minus a lot of scoring with no Howard nor Lee, now have to sit one of their better scorers, and Turkoglu with 3. Michael Peterson for him as Miller drills the deuce. Andre Miller 4 of 5. He's got 13, more than twice the points of any other Sixers, save Lou Williams, who has 8 off the bench. Sixers' first field goal in about the last 3 minutes of game action.
Critical 4-minute stretch for the 76ers, down by 13 here, a chance to close it with their defense and get themselves back into the game.
That is, if the Magic will miss at all. 62.5% shooting. Alston 6 of 9 for 14. That's a pretty shot off the wrong foot.
Goofy footer heading down the lane off the right foot with the right hand.
Lou Williams getting to the line. Foul here on J.J. Redick.
Well, Alston all series long has been able to penetrate, make plays. My correction, he went off his left foot that time. Little runner coming to his left. That is a difficult shot to make. It's that old Mark Jackson teardrop. Go in the air, all touch, no rotation on the ball. That's a tough shot to make.
So he went off the right foot, the correct foot.
The correct foot was the left foot. 1 foot, 2 foot, left foot, blue foot. I never could read that book.
No, you just memorized it. Rafer Alston earning the nickname Skip to My Lou as a New York high school legend, playground legend, Queens, New York. Said he grew up watching a lot of Pistol Pete tapes. That had to be something. Just Pete Maravich, the late great, what a magician he was with basketball. Speaking of Magic, Orlando has been just that from beyond the arc. 6 of 8 here in the first half, and their lead at 16, their largest. Gortat to the floor, scooped up by Miller. Sixers here with a fresh 24. Miller taking Alston. D'Alembert crashing, and this will go as a loose ball foul on Sammy.
Miller upset with himself, got a clean look coming across the lane, couldn't get the ball to go down. Now D'Alembert picking up a loose ball foul. We'll walk the floor as the Sixers in the penalty.
Magic also in the penalty. Orlando looking to expand its largest lead. Coming up, the Taco Bell halftime report. We'll tip things off at the Comcast Sportsnet studios. Bob and I will be here courtside. We'll analyze the goings-on in the first half. Michael Barkan, Gerald Henderson, John Celestin will be in the studio. Marcin Gortat. That's his first point, but I think he has had a pretty good defensive presence. Certainly not Dwight Howard, but a presence, and he's pulled 7 rebounds. Iguodala charging in. D'Alembert turning garbage into gold. Sammy, his second bucket for 4. Running Redick around a screen. Willie Green to the wood. Miller the floorboard. Miller runs into Gortat. The offensive foul, Andre Miller.
And I believe that Gortat was clearly inside the restricted area, and that's what Tony DeLeo was arguing now. Drive by Miller. Is Gortat outside, or is he below the restricted area? If he's below the restricted area, then he can be anywhere on the floor. Miller driving the ball right into the chest of Gortat, who was below the restricted area. And a good call that time by the officials.
Take a timeout. Back with more at the Wachovia Center right after this. Secure your seats for next season with a season ticket package. Get the best seats available for the 2009 10th season. Enjoy some great benefits as a Sixers season ticket holder, including a 10-month payment plan. Call the Sixers sales office at 215-339-7676 or log on to Sixers.com for more information. J.J. Redick, a starter for an injured Courtney Lee, has not missed a shot from beyond the arc. He has hit all 3 attempts thus far.
Well, think about what's happening in the absence of Courtney Lee. Courtney Lee, 4 of 14 from 3, not a threat to shoot the 3 ball, but now there are 3 players on the floor for the Orlando Magic that can stretch the floor, as Redick has been able to knock down 3 threes here in the first half. It's not just Lewis and Turkoglu. Unexpected starter J.J. Redick has knocked down 3 threes here in the first half.
Redick, a guy who really in 3 seasons with the Magic, unable to find himself, but he finds himself here in this critical postseason game as a starter and playing well. Lewis, who's become a go-to guy of late. D'Alembert rejecting him to see if it can fuel the Sixers. They are down 15 and 2 minutes to go before the break. Iguodala has Redick. Lewis looming as a double. Young denied by Lewis, who is all over the place defensively. And a tangle here between Gortat and D'Alembert, resulting in the offensive foul on Marcin Gortat, his second, and minus a big guy in Dwight Howard. Stan Van Gundy's not messing around. He's going to pull Gortat out of the game and put Tony Battie in for him.
That time trying to set a screen in transition, never quite got his feet set. But to this point in the game, Gortat and Tony Battie have done an adequate job, at least on the defensive end of the floor, of replacing Dwight Howard.
Surprising look and feel to this game. Not so much the Magic taking all these 3-pointers. The fact that they're leading by so much and have 58 points already. Willie Green drills it. Willie scoreless to that point, his first bucket over the last 3 games of the playoffs, stroking it nicely, averaging 13 points in that 3-game stretch. And there's Battie as D'Alembert went for the block.
Continues to happen. Theo Ratliff talked about it in an earlier timeout here in the first half, but as the shot blocker comes to help, someone has to put a body on his man.
Tony Battie averaging 3 in the playoffs, going in with 7 off the bench. Iguodala, beautiful move on Michael Pietrus. And he will go to the line for the first time in this game. Compliments of Pietrus.
Well, if the Sixers want to get back into this game, that's going to happen more. 76ers need to be more aggressive offensively, need to put the ball on the floor and get it to the rim. You've said that Battie and Gortat have done an adequate job to this point in replacing Howard, but they're certainly not the shot blocker or the defensive player that Howard is. Sixers have to take advantage of that fact and look somehow, some way to get the ball to the rim and get themselves to the free throw line.
Tony DeLeo, one wonders what adjustments he will make at halftime. He knows full well the Magic are shooting the lights out, nearly 60% and 6 of 8 from beyond the arc. 1 of 2 for Iguodala, only 6 points, just 2 of 9 shooting so far in this game 6. Again, they find Lewis on Miller. D'Alembert tipped it away. Now the goaltend on Sammy. Scored 2 for Lewis, who has 17 points, his average for this playoff series so far.
An unexpected aspect of the Orlando Magic to this game in the absence of Howard has been their ability to offensive rebound the ball here in the first half. 76ers looking to get out on the break, maybe leaving a little too soon.
Got a 12-second difference between the clocks. Young off the Iguodala miss. Hold it down and put it back. Thaddeus with 8. Shot clock is now unplugged. The Magic here, leading by 14, will hold for 1. Alston for 3, missing badly, and that'll do it. The Orlando Magic 6 of 9 from beyond, even after that Alston miss, and tremendous first half shooting, more than making up for the absence of Dwight Howard and Courtney Lee, generating 62 points over the opening 24 minutes, and they lead it by 14. 1 half complete. Magic 62, the Sixers 48. Sixers have to win to stay alive. Taco Bell after this.
76ers basketball is brought to you by Chevy. Find your nearest dealer on ChevyDealer.com. By the Pennsylvania Lottery. Benefits older Pennsylvanians. Every day. Must be 18 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. And by Mainline Health, official healthcare partner of the 76ers.
The end of a busy halftime at the courtside Lexus Club here at the Wachovia Center as we get set for the start of tonight's third quarter. With the thoughts of Tony DeLeo, here is D. Lyman.
Well, Mark, when he came out of the locker room, he had one word to say, and that was defense. He has no idea why they lacked the defense there in the first half. But after that, he said, you know, we can't run when we're just taking the ball out of the net, so we need to contest shots. We must stop them from driving to the basket. We need to get this crowd in this game, and we can't get frustrated with one another. He said the only good thing is we have a lot of time still to do this, but it has to start right now.
All right, D. Lynam, thank you so much. Bob Salmi, what do you see on that halftime stat sheet?
Well, one of the things you see, the Orlando Magic shooting 57% from the floor, getting it done from three. They're getting anything they want on that end of the floor, getting layups, getting threes, getting second chance points. And down at the bottom of your screen, the Orlando Magic have 6 offensive rebounds and 14 second chance points. Mark, what that means is not only have they scored on every single one of their offensive rebounds, they've scored 2 3-pointers in that sequence as well. 14 second chance points on 6 offensive rebounds. The 76ers going to have to pick something defensively to take away from the Orlando Magic.
So happy you could be with us tonight on Comcast Sportsnet and on NBA TV. 76ers need to win or their season is over. If they can somehow pull this out, they will force a 7th and deciding game Saturday at Orlando at a time to be determined. 76ers have now trailed by double figures in 5 of the 6 games in this playoff series. With D. Lyman and Bob Salmi, Mark Zumoff tonight, third quarter underway. Turkoglu playing with 3 personal fouls. And for Hedo Turkoglu, his first miss after going 4 for 4 in that first half. Iguodala has the point guard Alston. There's Gortat looming. Sixers keep it here with 11 to shoot. Sixers running Andre Miller with Willie Green at the guards. Samuel Dalembert in the middle. Thaddeus Young, Andre Iguodala, the forwards. Got to get Andre Iguodala going. Just 2 of 10 in that first half, only 6 points. Playing in a crowd gave it up. J.J. Redick, who had 3 threes for all of his buckets in that first half. In the backcourt, Rafer Alston. Redick in there for the injured Courtney Lee. Marcin Gortat in the middle for the suspended Dwight Howard. There's a Turkoglu 3. He is also up front with Rashard Lewis.
Sixers dodge a bullet there as Turkoglu got a clean look at 3 from the right corner.
Willie Green in rhythm for 2. So Willie, after coming out of the gate and missing his first 4 from the floor, hitting 2 straight for his 4 points. Sixers down a dozen. Inside to Gortat, and he slams for 2. Marcin Gortat, if he is to score in this game, that's one of the things he does best, is plunge to the goal.
Set that high pick and roll, dive to the basket. Good find that time by Lewis. Dalembert just a step late getting back in rotation.
In fact, for Gortat, who averaged a modest 4 points per game during the regular season, his first basket of this game.
But the strategy hasn't changed. Look at the Orlando Magic space to floor. Here's Gortat setting the screen, but everybody else is behind the 3-point line. And because everyone else is behind the 3-point line, it makes it difficult to get reconnected to Gortat as he dives to the rim.
Somebody rotate in that situation?
Somebody rotates from the weak side, but when they do, they're leaving an open 3-point shooter in the corner.
Miller, that's for 3. Young in a crowd is fouled. Nice pull that time by Thaddeus Young off the missed 3 by Andre Miller. He has taken 9 threes already in this series. Personal Marcin Gortat, his 3rd. 2 team fouls in the Magic. Young, that's for 3. Sixer 3-point shooting in this contest, just 2 of 7. The better part of the first 4 games of this series, the Sixers, amazingly enough, the better of the 2 teams, 3-point percentage. Again, quite the reverse during the regular season. There's Redick with a healthy 3, his first miss from beyond.
But again, the Magic get back even off misses. Sixers finding it difficult to run.
Sixers during the regular season among the NBA leaders in fast break points per game. That and getting to the line. Through their main sources of scoring as Alston with a pretty move. Got all the way to the cup. And Alston now with 16 points, 2 above his playoff average.
Well, right now that additional three-point shooter in those high pick-and-roll situations is making it very difficult for the 76ers to rotate and stay connected to three-point shooters.
Three for Alston and Lewis and closing on Young. And Alston fouled him for his second. 3 on the Magic already. There we have the McDonald's small fry of the game tonight. Real cutie. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Love a little snack with mom. Join Sixer action.
Iguodala, that's for a 3. Got it. Andre Iguodala hitting the 3, and for Iguodala his second in 4 tries. Gortat denied by D'Alembert. It will go as a goaltend. Score 2 for Marcin Gortat. And the obvious question is, how does a big guy get a breakaway off of a made 3?
Just running and effort. Gortat beating D'Alembert down the floor. D'Alembert so much faster than Gortat. That can't happen.
Gortat 4 of his 5 points here in this third quarter. D'Alembert trying to answer back. Gortat getting a piece of the rock. Out of bounds it goes. And it will belong to Orlando.
On the break after a made 3 by Andre Iguodala, Gortat just beating D'Alembert down the floor, and ball clearly hits the backboard before D'Alembert makes contact. Little things mean a lot. If the Sixers want to climb back in, they cannot make mental mistakes.
They have trailed through the lion's share of this game. Had an early lead at 5-2. Magic started to hit threes like that. Alston buries the triple. He's got 19. He is high man of the game. And the Magic, their largest lead, minus Dwight Howard and Courtney Lee. They are up 18 points early in the third. Time to renew your 76ers season tickets. Visit Sixers.com. See all the new and improved benefits and flexible payment options for next year. Secure your seat for 2009-10. Contact your Sixers renewal representative by calling the Sixers sales office at 215-339-7676 for more information. The information thus far not good for Sixer fans. Their team on the brink. Lose and their season is over. Win and they force a 7th and deciding game Saturday in Orlando.
Well, the Magic continue to space the floor, and the one guy the 76ers were willing to leave open from the three-point line, Rafer Alston, he's gone 3 for 5 from 3 as the Magic have 7 threes with just under 4 minutes gone here in the third.
Here are the Sixers out of the timeout. He spread the floor for Iguodala, gives it up for a green 3, but a whistle before the give up. And a blocking foul inside on J.J. Redick that will put the Orlando Magic at the team foul limit, and for Redick personal number 3.
Well, the Sixers are going to have to do one of 2 things. Either make threes because that's all Orlando is giving to them, or get out in the open floor and beat this defense down the floor. Those are their 2 options to get back in this game right now. In half court, the Magic not willing to give up layups, willing to give up threes. But in transition, the 76ers can get to the rim if they can somehow defensive rebound the ball.
Young 4 to shoot over Gortat. D'Alembert tips it home. Sammy his 3rd bucket. Give him 6.
Another opportunity for Samuel D'Alembert. Gortat goes to help. He goes into the air, gets the left-hand tip in.
One thing the Sixers can do is try to go at some defenders. Turkoglu, Redick, and Gortat, all starters, each with 3 personals. Sixers down double figures. A good part of this game 6. Lewis thinking 3, tried to thread it to Gortat. Chance for the Sixers. Young works it with Green, and Iguodala slams for 2 and a foul. Maybe that's the spark the Sixers need here in this third quarter.
Our safe auto minimum coverage is the defensive coverage. D'Alembert half help, baits the pass, steals the pass, and this is 76er basketball. Turnovers that lead to fast break opportunities. Kick ahead, drop back, nice finish by Iguodala. 76ers out on the break need more of that to climb back in this game.
Andre Iguodala coming into this game in the playoffs just 67% from the line. Just 1 of 3 in this contest. He does have 11. There is Lewis, and he strokes it. Shard Lewis. Lewis and Alston each with 19 to pace the Magic. They continue to keep the Sixers at arm's length. That time, Green thinking Young would remain stationed beyond the arc, and the Sixers turn it over.
Well, somebody on this Sixer team now is going to have to grab hold of this game. Getting away from the 76ers, someone's going to have to show the leadership necessary to stop this Magic run and get them back in the game.
D'Alembert out on Redick, dissuading him. Turkoglu thinking 3, put a shoulder into Miller. Rebounded D'Alembert. Sammy has wrapped up 9 tonight. Green taking it to Gortat. D'Alembert, as Gortat went to help, got the tip in, and Sammy now 8 points and 10 rebounds in this game.
Second time the Sixers have driven the ball in half court and been able to secure an offensive rebound.
They're down a dozen, and a palpable buzz begins to emanate from the crowd. That's a Lewis 3, missing badly, and here come the Sixers trailing by 14. Young lost it in a crowd. Redick for 3, dropped it. J.J. Redick, all 4 of his made buckets in this game, 3-pointers. The Magic 8 of 14 from beyond. The Sixers now down 17. Andre Miller getting 2 back at the other end. Miller, the most consistent offensive player, certainly among the starters in this game for the Sixers. He's got 15.
If you're going to trade baskets, Mark, you can't trade 2s for 3s. Sixers going to have to find a way to get the Magic off that 3-point line.
Can't trade baskets under any circumstance. 2s, 3s, whatever. There's Redick that time on the drive. Don't count it. The foul is committed by a 76er. Orlando, are they claiming that he was in the act of shooting?
Well, one of the things that can't happen is you can't commit a violation after a foul and score a basket. Redick picks the ball up and then travels to finish the shot. You can be fouled in the act of shooting, but you can't commit a violation and expect the field goal to count. That's that old Charles Barkley move, where he'd go in the air, shot fake you, then land after the contact, put the ball in the basket. I don't believe there's any way that basket can count because Redick committed a violation, traveling violation, prior to putting that ball in the basket.
The officials discussing it, and they say it is indeed just a side in for the Magic.
Van Gundy arguing this call, but Redick will jump off 1 foot, jump off the left foot, and then land on the left foot again. 3 steps, fouled in the act of shooting, no question. But you can't commit a violation and then score a field goal.
Personal Andre Miller, once again his 3rd, just first on the Sixer team. Michael Petrus in for Hedo Turkoglu. Gortat open, and he dropped it. Marcin Gortat well within himself in this game offensively. And he has been downright offensive here in this 3rd quarter. Gortat with 6 of his 7 after intermission. The Magic leading by 17. Miller over Gortat, and he got it done. Andre Miller, 17, but Miller really essentially hauling the load for the Sixers in this 3rd quarter.
Taking charge offensively. Only guy in the second half for the 76ers scoring the ball.
Lou Williams just checking in, first time in the second half. Called for the foul. Williams in for Willie Green. Williams actually a pretty good first half, dropping 10 in a 13-minute run. They changed that last foul. Willie Green picking it up, not Miller. So Miller has been a stalwart once again, only 2 personals. There's Petrus for 3. You don't mind him taking threes at 29% in the playoffs. Miller dips in, strokes two. Andre Miller right now keeping the Sixers afloat. He has scored the last 6 for them. He's got 19 all told. And again, a buzz emanating from the crowd here at the Wachovia Center. Largely quiet throughout most of this game 6. The underman Magic taking it to the Sixers. It's an Alston 3. Need a rebound. D'Alembert and Gortat tied up. And Sammy to be called for the loose ball foul is third.
One of the things that Gortat has been able to do in this game is hold his ground. D'Alembert face guarding him. Gortat gets himself decent position. And long shots equal long rebounds. Gortat holds that position. D'Alembert holds him. Magic with a new possession.
Gortat again. Marcin Gortat exploding here in this third quarter, where he has scored 8 of his 9. Again, during the regular season averaged under 4 points per game, and minuscule numbers in the playoffs. Taking the place of the suspended Dwight Howard. That's a 3 from Williams. D'Alembert with a tip to the floor, and Gortat. Gortat by far a playoff career high with 11 rebounds. Lewis, fans look for a walk as Lewis drains it, and he's high man of the game with 21.
That was a heads-up play by Lewis to wait for D'Alembert to leave on the double team.
Here come the Magic. Lewis and Alston playing catch. That'll be a Redick 3, and it should be a timeout. It is a 20-second timeout called by Tony DeLeo, and the reeling Sixers, who find themselves down 20. That is the largest lead of the series. Redick with a 3, capping a 7-0 sprint for Orlando. Take a timeout.
Our AT&T called the game. No Dwight Howard, no Courtney Lee, and in their place, welcome J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick knocking down 3. He's got 4 threes in the game, replacing Courtney Lee. And Marcin Gortat going to the rim and pick and roll, popping himself out to knock down jumpers, surprising even himself. Like, well, why not? I'm open. I got the ball. 76ers stunned by J.J. Redick and Marcin Gortat, stunned by the three-point shooting of the Orlando Magic.
That says it all. A 20-point lead for Orlando, the largest of the series for either team. The Magic in this game, a series high 9 threes. Who would have thought that J.J. Redick would be causing all this damage to the Sixer hopes here, with 5 of 6 shooting from beyond the arc. That's where all his points have come from, and Marcin Gortat supplying those figures in the absence of the suspended Dwight Howard. Sixers need a little run here to close out the quarter, just to make some kind of a statement, I think.
Get themselves possibly back in the game. A lot of basketball to play. Easy to make shots when you're up by 20. Sixers can somehow get this close to double digits.
Not a good starting point as Williams turned it over. Alston, who's been brilliant, scoring, and a great floor game. 9 assists, no turnovers for Rafer Alston. He was brought in by the Orlando Magic in February after the season-ending shoulder injury. St. Joe's product Jameer Nelson. Shard Lewis is high man of the game with 23 points, and the Magic continue to pull away.
2 minutes. 2 minutes left in the third.
Where does the spark come from for the Sixers? One and done there as Petrus has the young miss.
The Magic are going to continue to bait the 76ers to shoot from the perimeter. Thaddeus Young called for the foul in the post, trying to guard Lewis. But we talked about in this series that posting Lewis might not be a good idea. Might not be a good idea to start games, but maybe a good idea to finish games. Lewis able to go one-on-one against Thaddeus Young. They've done their damage from 3 to this point, making 9 3-pointers. Now possibly to close out the game, willing to take twos, willing to post Lewis down the stretch of this game.
Who had 13 of his 24 in the fourth quarter of their winning game 5 in Orlando. Now Iguodala taking over here against Lewis. All hands on deck as Lewis makes the move. And Young has the miss. Miller wants Alston. And here they go. Andre Miller, he was determined to get some kind of a call, either a bucket or a collision, something. That time the personal on J.J. Redick.
You can never tell with Stan Van Gundy. Miller trying to drive the ball, spins into the paint, gets contact, gets fouled. Van Gundy reacting to that play, but Miller continues to be aggressive here in the second half. Seemed to make plays. Bumped by Alston that time. I wouldn't want to play poker with Stan Van Gundy. Up 20, down 20, up 30, down 30. He's the same guy and the same reactions. Hard to get a read on him.
4 now in Redick, in there for the injured Courtney Lee. Out with that fractured sinus. His own teammate did him in, Dwight Howard. 6 minutes into game 5. 2 at the line for Miller, has got 21 points, ending a 9-0 Magic run. A little more than a minute to play here. It has been a devastating third for the Sixers, who had hoped to make some kind of a move, but thus far have had no answer. There's Petrus, that's for 3. Rebound to Lou Williams, under a minute now remaining here in the third.
That's the first offensive rebound that the Magic have not scored off of in this game.
J.J. Redick just committed personal foul number 5. You know, we saw this so many times during the regular season with the Sixers were able to disrupt the other team's rhythm, A, and B, get points by getting consistent trips to the line. That's got to be part of their strategy here heading into the fourth quarter.
It's the only way they can get back in the game is to disrupt things. Perhaps look for Tony DeLeo to change some strategies and pick and roll, go small like he appears to be doing now. As Donyell Marshall now playing the center position for the 76ers. Perhaps looking to switch everything, gum things up a little bit, maybe get a couple of easy baskets in the open floor.
So Redick now sitting with his 5 personals. Anthony Johnson for him. Johnson, the backup for Rafer Alston, now joining him in the backcourt. Tony Battie coming on moments ago for Marcin Gortat. Ivy has to deal with the 6'10 Lewis, thus the double by Iguodala. Lewis forcing the issue. Marshall off the miss. Had a 7-second difference between the clocks. Sixers a bit hasty here, hoping to chuck one up and get 2 possessions for 1. Royale Ivy hitting the 3. Only his 2nd and 6 tries in these playoffs. Caps a 7-0 run. The Sixers now have it to 15 after trailing by as many as 22. Shot clock here is unplugged. Lewis got it off. Fortunately for the Sixers, a miss. So the Sixers do make some headway. The end of that third quarter, down by as many as 22 in the third. They have made it a 15-point game after 3. They hope more than 12 minutes remain in their season. They lose this one, they're eliminated. We'll go to the fourth and final quarter of this game 6 right after this.
76ers basketball is brought to you by Honda. Test drive a 2009 Honda today at your Honda dealer. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO.
Back here at the Wachovia Center through 3 quarters, and the Magic by 15, 87-72. After the game, the man of the result, Michael Barkan, John Celestin, Gerald Henderson in the studio. They'll break it down for you. D-Lina will be in the Sixer locker room as Dodge presents Sixers post-game live right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Ryan Howard. Phil's having a night off, preparing for their series with the New York Mets starting tomorrow right here on Comcast Sportsnet. And the Phil's first baseman in the building tonight. Crowd getting into it. Hoping to get the Sixers revved up here in the fourth quarter. If they should somehow come back and win this game, it'll be the first quarter they'll have taken all night. D. Lineman, Bob Salmi, Mark Zumoff. Courtside on Comcast Sportsnet and NBA TV. Williams, Ivy, Miller, the three-guard lineup with Iguodala and Marshall. Ivy dancing in, unfinished business for him. Anthony Johnson in the backcourt. Michael Pietrus, Marcin Gortat, Ito Turkoglu, and Tony Battie, the front line for the Orlando Magic. Sixers' last lead in this game was 5-2 before the Magic went on a sprint. Turkoglu, 5 of 8, he's got a dozen.
I'm a little surprised that Stan Van Gundy's gone back to his big lineup. Daniel Marshall playing the center position for the Sixers with Battie and Gortat both still on the floor for the Magic.
Because the Sixers are going small.
Surprised to see that he did not try to match that lineup.
Andre Iguodala, the second leading rebounder in the playoffs for the Sixers, struggling offensively, only 11 points. He's got the near 7-footer Gortat on him, though stays outside and misses the jumper.
Opportunities to drive the ball for the 76ers as they've created mismatches with this small lineup. They have not taken advantage by putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim.
The absence of Dwight Howard, that was to have been the Sixers' strategy. Drive the ball. Pietrus dipping in. Marshall out-dueling Battie. Daniel Marshall, though the good shooter, has to board here, especially with this lineup. Miller has Johnson working hard for the money. And Andre Miller will go to the line for the 9th and 10th times in this crucial game 6 for the Sixers. Poll question brought to you by AT&T. The key to a Sixer comeback will be, and the majority of you say, the defense by the starters. Thank you for voting tonight on the AT&T poll question. Maurice Spates saw some action in the first half. The first time after getting action in the first 2 games of this series only. About to enter for the first time in the second half. As Andre Miller will get an up.
No lead has been safe in this series. And the best way for the 76ers to get back in the game is do exactly what Andre Miller is doing right now. Be aggressive to the rim, get yourself to the rim, and possibly get yourself to the free throw line.
Miller has been a guiding light for the Sixers. More than twice the points of any other teammate. He's got 23. 9 of 10 from the stripe. Sixers down 15. Plenty of time to make a move. Johnson ran into Williams. And an offensive foul. Check it. It'll be a traveling violation. A travel on Anthony Johnson. Nonetheless, a turnover for the Magic. Only their 9th.
I continue to be stunned by this lineup. Tremendous success from the three-point line for the Magic in this game. Only one real three-point shooter on the floor right now for the Magic. That's Ito Turkoglu.
Samuel Dalembert, nice catch, unfinished business. Got it again with Battie looming. Tried to bang it off of him. Unsuccessful at that. Pietrus streaking down the floor, and he slams for 2.
Sixers looking for a foul call. Dalembert trying to get himself in position to score.
Michael Pietrus, his first bucket. Iguodala rolling in. That time Pietrus impeding. And a foul, Michael Pietrus. Sixers still with hope. But now 9:20 to play here in the 4th. The Magic, their second team foul. Sixers back to work with 14 to shoot. Miller, it would have counted. 2 more at the line for Andre Miller. Four personals on Anthony Johnson. 3 on the Magic, so that's a good sign. You pile up those team fouls, you get some trips to the line. Stan Van Gundy playing with a short deck, without a Superman tonight, and his strategy working, particularly their three-point shooting. A series high 9 made threes in this game. One more at the line for Andre Miller. .24 and counting for Miller. That time the moving screen on Gortat. Iguodala a nice job forcing the issue by fighting around that screen. And we have a timeout. 91-75 Orlando.
We welcome you back to the Wachovia Center. The Sixers trailing the Magic by 16 here in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the big storyline coming into this game was the fact that Dwight Howard had been suspended after giving an elbow to Sam's head in Game 5. But look what his and Courtney Lee's replacements have done. Redick and Gortat a combined 24 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists. And we knew they were a big three-point shooting team. Orlando has 9 made threes to the Sixers 4. Mark, the Sixers made threes early in this series, but as it went on, it became more and more difficult for them to knock them down.
All right, Delanham, thank you so much. Redick, the starter, sitting with 5 personal fouls, but he's already done a lot of damage with his 15 points. The last foul on Gortat, his 4th. Here, the Sixers out of the timeout. They want Spates on the veteran guard Anthony Johnson. Don't get it to him. Now inside, the Magic able to steal it. Miller against the 6'10 Rashard Lewis. The double by Iguodala. It frees up a Johnson 3, and down it goes.
It's been that kind of a night for the Orlando Magic. Not just the key guys hitting threes, but Redick stepping in, hitting threes, and now Anthony Johnson adding insult to injury, knocking down another 3.
Iguodala again with double vision. Miller, that's for a 3. Rebound of Petrus. Orlando 10 of 20 from beyond the arc. Turkoglu taking Spates. That'll be a Petrus 3. And now Michael Petrus joining the parade and hitting the 3 to put Orlando up by 22 points. Tonight on Sports Night, a recap of this Game 6, a full report as the Eagles draft class begins arriving for this weekend's mandatory minicamp. All coming up tonight on Sports Night right here on Comcast Sportsnet.
J.J. Redick is our Land Rover extraordinary player coming into tonight's game in this series. J.J. Redick 2 for 9, had made 1 3-pointer in 3 appearances for the Orlando Magic in the series. Made 5 field goals in tonight's game, all 5 of them 3-pointers. J.J. Redick, our Land Rover extraordinary player of the game, getting it done from the 3-point line for the Orlando Magic.
Named by Stan Van Gundy to start for the injured Courtney Lee, who suffered that fractured sinus in Game 5 at the hands of his own teammate Dwight Howard, who is not playing because of that suspension. Sixers down 22. It's Orlando's largest lead. Lou Williams dipping in and stroking 2. Lou has 14. It is truly amazing. Orlando missing the players they're missing in Howard and Lee. Seeing the Sixers allowing them to shoot 55%, giving up 97 points at this point in an elimination game for the Sixers. Make it 99 for the Magic, as Lewis now has 25.
Well, we talked about at the top of the show what was Plan B, and Plan B for the Orlando Magic: insert Redick and shoot threes. 1 additional 3-point shooter. The 76ers have not been able to stay connected to the 3-point shooters. Magic with 11 made threes in the game. As Petrus able to get to the rim once more.
For Iguodala, his first personal. Todd coming out on Iguodala. Andre taking him. Had it stripped en route to the hoop. Sixers left with 11 to shoot.
And Stan Van Gundy continues to argue, warned by Scott Foster, please don't get up again. You have one technical foul. Continues to argue, continues to fight.
D-Lyon, what do you got?
Well, you hate to keep comparing to the way things were a year ago, but in that series, Detroit won the last 10 quarters of that series, and now the Magic have come and won the last 8 quarters of this series. I don't know what that says in terms of how they're playing the game.
And now D'Alembert and Turkoglu is being tossed from the game. Stan Van Gundy out onto the floor, and Scott Foster, the guy who just tossed Turkoglu, warning Van Gundy he could get the thumb as well.
Well, Turkoglu had better be careful, because if he continues to pursue this out onto the floor, he won't just miss tonight's game. He might miss another game in the playoffs if the Magic can hang on here and win.
I'll tell you what, they better make sure that there's security backstage, because Turkoglu and D'Alembert were staring daggers at each other. Samuel D'Alembert, I believe, has been tossed from the game as well.
Those two in a bear hug. Contact. Turkoglu won't let go. D'Alembert won't let go. Johnson trying to pull Turkoglu off. D'Alembert laughing. Turkoglu not taking that laughter too well. And now during an altercation, by rule, the officials can now go to the videotape, look at replays, see if in fact anyone has left the bench area. There could be additional ejections in this situation. D'Alembert and Turkoglu tied up. The officials will look at this videotape. Did anyone else come out onto the floor for the Orlando Magic? Did anyone leave the bench area for the 76ers? Were there any additional pushing and shoving going on in the periphery of that little skirmish between Turkoglu and D'Alembert?
Coaches and assistant coaches are permitted on the court as peacemakers. Players have to remain in the bench area.
And shot goes up on that side of the floor. D'Alembert gets Turkoglu. Turkoglu takes offense and comes right back at D'Alembert.
And apparently D'Alembert remains in the game. I think what we have now here are double technicals. And of course Turkoglu had one already, so he goes. And D'Alembert remaining on the floor with a T assessed to him. And in the case of a double technical, no free throw shot.
No free throws. They cancel each other out. Whoever had possession of the ball gets the basketball.
And that came after the review of that little near tussle between D'Alembert and Turkoglu. In the meantime, Sammy heading to the bench. Of course, D'Alembert, the inadvertent poke of the eye of Dwight Howard in game 1. Maybe it goes back to that. Then the elbow delivered by Howard in game 5. So some boiling blood there to begin with.
And how you handle that pressure in the playoffs, in large part determines whether or not you can advance and how far you can advance in the playoffs.
Iguodala slamming off of his own swipe. 13 points in this contest for Andre Iguodala. Halfway through this fourth quarter. If you're the Sixers, hey, play your hearts out for the last half of this quarter. See what happens. Gortat missing badly after getting away with a push-off on Maurice Spates. Miller trying to bust a move on Petrus, who refuses to yield it to Williams. 3, and down it goes for Lou Williams. And Stan Van Gundy before the Sixers can even think about mounting any kind of a charge, calling for and getting a timeout. Williams with 17. The Sixers down more than that.
Time now for our Dodge drive of the game. Lone bright spot for the Philadelphia 76ers has been the play of Andre Miller. Andre Miller from the top of the floor in the second quarter, driving the ball to the basket, 2 steps, finished with the left hand. Our Dodge drive of the game. Andre Miller, 24 points in the game. The only 76er to really get it going scoring-wise here in Game 6.
Andre Miller, 10 years in the NBA. 5th time to the playoffs, but he has never gotten past the first round. J.J. Redick returns for the Magic. Carries around 5 personal fouls. Now a tussle with Young and Lewis vying for position, and Thaddeus whistled for the personal. 3 on him, 2 on the team.
And I think that's what you'll see exclusively down the stretch. Orlando Magic posting Lewis on Thaddeus Young. Sixers get a 5-second violation.
Indeed they do. The turnover, just the 12th for Orlando, 15 for the Sixers. Down 19 points and as many as 24. Young thinking 3, kept his feet. Nice set up. Spates had it blocked. Maurice had it blocked twice. Sixers here with a fresh 24. That's a Young 3. Rimmed it. Under 5 to play. Searching out Lewis again. Young giving him a what for off the ball. Williams shadowing as a double. And he's fouled. Rashard Lewis, who closed the book on the Sixers in Game 5, trying to close the season here. He's got 27 points.
Well, we talked about this might not be a good idea early in games for the Orlando Magic, but the last 2 games, this has been the closeout play for the Orlando Magic. Post up Lewis. Lewis able to get the ball in the air, get the ball to go down, and now a chance for the 3-point play.
Rashard Lewis has gotten better as this series has gone on. .28, just 5 away from a playoff career high. Redick back to the bench. If you're Orlando, you got to D it up and just take care of the ball. Iguodala hoisting a 3, and he was fouled. Didn't want to do that. Michael Petrus fouling Andre Iguodala, shooting a 3. He'll get 1 more at the line.
These are the kind of plays that drive a head coach absolutely nuts. Trying to close the game out and then contesting a 3 and clearly running into Iguodala prior to his landing. Big leads can evaporate when you make mental mistakes like that, fouling a 3-point shooter.
Iguodala converting the 4-point play. Rafer Alston, the 10-year veteran. Again looking for Lewis on Young. 3 Sixers on Lewis. 5 to shoot. It's a Redick 3. Spates unable to come down with a miss. Had it knocked away. The Magic in no particular hurry with under 4 to play. And leading by 18 points. Lewis taking Young yet again. And his own miss. And again the Magic here with a fresh 24. Or did it hit the rim? I think one official doubts that it hit the rim, and I think that's what the discussion here is. Do they get a fresh 24?
Well, Lewis clearly secured his own rebound. Did this shot hit the rim? Lewis with the lay-in. It appears to have grazed it. Did it get a little piece of it? I believe it did. Just a piece, enough of it. If it hadn't hit the rim, I think Spates had it timed. Watch Spates' reaction to the ball. Spates thinks he has this as an air ball, and as he goes up, it goes past his hand. I think Spates was thinking it was going to miss the rim. Officials say no. Put 1 second on the shot clock, saying that ball did not hit the rim.
Not a travel, because you can catch your own shot off the backboard. You're allowed to do that.
Did that ball hit the backboard? Now that's another question.
No, I thought it hit the backboard.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're right about that, but moot point either way is the 76ers in real trouble.
Actually, the Magic there with the shot clock running down. Called for the shot clock violation.
Stan Van Gundy has no confidence defensively in J.J. Redick. 3 minutes and 36 seconds to go. The Magic up by 18. He's going offense, defense with J.J. Redick and Anthony Johnson. Trying to, but the official saying that Johnson was not at the table.
Williams for three. Rebound to Rashard Lewis. In the Magic in no particular hurry. And again, they filter it through Lewis against Thaddeus Young. No fewer than 3 Sixers watching Rashard Lewis. And the foul's called on Lou Williams. Rashard Lewis going back to the line. Chicago and the Celtics. 4 seconds to go in 4 seconds to go in the fourth quarter of that game.
What a surprise. The Boston-Chicago game is tied. Holy smokes.
What a series.
3 overtimes, another tie, another possible overtime tonight. Stan Van Gundy has gotten what he's asked for from J.J. Redick. An incredible offensive performance from him. Replacing Courtney Lee. Guy coming into this game 2 for 9 in the series. Comes up big from the three-point line, making 5 threes, 5 of 6 from 3. J.J. Redick delivers from the three-point line. One more three-point shooter for the Magic. Able to do the 76ers in here in game 6.
Marcin Gortat, by the way, his 5th personal foul, going over the back of Maurice Spates. Under 3 minutes now remaining in this game 6. There's Petrus with 5 to shoot. And Lewis controlling the miss is fouled. Andre Miller, the personal. Rashard Lewis going to the line. So, with this season about to come to a close, our thoughts turn to 2 different things. What if Elton Brand was healthy in this playoff series? What if he was able to play under Tony DeLeo after DeLeo took charge of the team in mid-December? And you look forward to next season and having a healthy Elton Brand in the lineup.
Think about how frustrating it is for Elton Brand sitting behind the 76er bench, watching a game like tonight and wondering, knowing that there are some things he could do to help this team win. It's a tough spot for a player to be, injured, knowing you can help your team, but you can't help your team because you can't get out on the floor due to injury.
Twice in this series, the Sixers had the lead. They took the first game in Orlando in shocking fashion. They were down 18 points. Andre Iguodala, the game winner. That gave the 76ers the home court. They lost in game 2, won game 3. As Steve Lynham alluded to earlier, the pattern of this series, much like last year. The Sixers took on the Detroit Pistons. They stole game 1 at the Palace. lost game 2, won game 3, and led at halftime game 4 before the Pistons took over that series. Magic winning the pivotal game 5. And now here in game 6 with the Sixers, the hopes of the team and their fans had risen with the injury to Courtney Lee and the suspension of the Defensive Player of the Year, Dwight Howard, who's been a monster at both ends for the Magic in this playoff series. But Orlando employing the three-point shot to perfection, shooting 12 of 26 in this contest and scoring 108 points despite missing Lee and Howard. That's combined 37 points in this playoff series. This game notwithstanding, not to diminish from the work done by Tony DeLeo coming in mid-December. And remember, after that long road trip at San Antonio, Tony Parker heave, putting the Sixers 7 games under 500. But it actually turned out to be a watershed for the team. And DeLeo able to better define roles, get his team to buy into his defensive philosophies. Certainly has to be disappointed here. But you have to look at the whole body of work. And in large measure, the Sixers did do some positive things, although tonight has to be a great disappointment to them.
No question, and you can see the disappointment on each and every one of the 76er faces, each and every one of the 76er coaching staff.
And credit to the Orlando Magic in a situation like this. Missing Howard, missing Lee. And you go back to mid-February, the injury to Jameer Nelson. Coming out and winning this game. The Sixers and Andre Iguodala, they pestered them, gave them all they could handle through the better part of the first 5 games. But in this game 6, the Orlando Magic found something that many people weren't sure they had. And a lot of times you play a team without its best player, without several injured players, and for one game they could be a dangerous team. And that turned out to be the case tonight for the Orlando Magic.
And you talked about dangerous players, and we wondered coming into this game, would Marcin Gortat, would J.J. Redick be able to step up to the plate and make something happen? And both of them played well enough in this game to make it happen in a big way for the Orlando Magic.
9 times in Orlando franchise history, a Magic team has lost the first game of a playoff series and gone on to lose the series 9 times. They will break that pattern tonight here at the Wachovia Center. And they will play the winner of the Boston Celtics Chicago Bulls series. The final score tonight in game 6, the Orlando Magic 114 and the 76ers 89. So congratulations to the Orlando Magic, the 3rd seed, beating the 6th seed, the 76ers, 4 games to 2 in this best of 7 opening round Eastern Conference playoff series. The Magic winning 59 games during the regular season, and the Sixers 41 games. And the Magic go on to win the series as Rashard Lewis in this game, the Bud Light player of the game. Somebody had to come up large, and Lewis among them. In fact, all 5 Magic starters in double figures, but our Bud Light player of the game, Rashard Lewis, high man of the game, with 29 points, stuffing a stat sheet for the victorious Orlando Magic.
76ers basketball has been brought to you by the new AT&T. Your world delivered. McDonald's McCafe coffees. Try hot or iced mochas, lattes, and cappuccinos. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Bud Light, the difference is drinkability. Wachovia, the official financial services partner of the Philadelphia 76ers. Mountain Dew, do the do. And by Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward.
Back here in Philly, where the 76ers season came to a close, the Magic take this playoff series 4 games to 2 with a 114-89 victory at the Wachovia Center. So the Magic will advance, and they will take on the winner of the Chicago-Boston series whenever that ends. They're into overtime. 2 minutes to go in overtime. And it is 107-103 Chicago. So a Bulls win will extend that to 7 games, as the Magic will await the winner of that one. Back here at the Wachovia Center, first of all, a great thank you to all 76er fans for joining us this year on Comcast Sportsnet. Bob Salmi, thank you for the privilege of working next to you. As the 76ers end the season 41-41, they do make the playoffs as a 6th seed, but they clearly succumb to a better team, the Orlando Magic, with or without Dwight Howard. The Magic, a 59-win team, and certainly over a 7-game series, even missing Howard for just that one game, you would expect them to win, and win it they did.
I think so. And one of the things the Sixers were able to do is take the Orlando Magic out of their rhythm early in this series, but the Orlando Magic able to get that back, able to get it back even in the absence of their best player, Dwight Howard. And J.J. Redick, a guy who was 2 for 9 in this series in 3 games played, comes up big, going 5 for 6 from the three-point line. Three-point line, a difference in this game for the Orlando Magic.
All right, so again, we stress that one game does not make a season. It was a thrilling season for the 76ers in many respects. Remember, they were 7 games under 500, and then Tony DeLeo took over in mid-December, and some great things happened for the Sixers.
Number 42, Elton Brand.
Sixers look to go in front. Miller all the way. Got it! Andre Miller puts the Sixers in front for the first time tonight. Iguodala in trouble. Brand for the lead. Got it! Sets up Marshall. That's for 3. Yes! Daniel Marshall hits the 3. Miller up for grabs, Iguodala in the face of Yao. Here comes Gordon against Green. Can he get it off? He does for the tie. Ribbed it. Gallagher the rebound, and the game is over. The Sixers win it. Andre Iguodala with the Sixers down 2. Going for the win. Yes! Oh, yes! Andre Iguodala for the lead. Yes! Oh, yes! Now he goes to Thaddeus Young. Young driving in. Can he get it off? Yes! For 3. Got it! Unbelievable! The 76ers, it started in training camp in early October and ended on April 30th, 2009 in a 4-2 playoff win for the Orlando Magic over the 76ers. Jerry Monzo, best in the business. Man to my left, our stat guy, Beth Ely, you're great. Nick Marquetta, J.R. Aquila, love you guys. Our camera guys, our tape people, you guys are the best, so are you fans. Thanks for joining us for 76ers basketball this season. Dodge presents Sixers Post Game Live up next.